Hey data enthusiast, welcome back to Guide Coachings, the go-to channel for all things data-driven. Today we are diving into an exciting topic to get and post API handling with Python. We are here once again with a powerful video that will enhance your data skills. To interact with APIs in Python, we'll be using the request libraries. This is essential for sending HTTP requests. In this tutorial, we'll focus on handling get and post requests along with parameters. Whether you are fetching data or sending information, mastering these concepts is crucial. We are constantly creating videos on how to become a pro data analyst. So if you want to stay ahead in the data game and make a seamless career transition, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Join our community and let's elevate your skills together. Let's get started.
Alright data enthusiasts, let's get started to the topic which we are going to cover today. That is two topics which we are going to cover in this tutorial. The first one is how you can use get APIs in Python and how you can use post APIs in Python with parameter, without parameter. We are going to see both the examples. Okay, so stay tuned, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe us and hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever we post a new video. By subscribing and keeping up with the latest insights, you are joining a community enthusiastic for the latest technologies in data analysis. So first thing first, we are going to see import the libraries, that is request libraries, which is available in Python. So this is the page which you can find out. If you write over here requests in Python, then this is the URL you will get. Okay, you will open it. Once you open it, you can scroll it down, and over here you can find out this page. Once you click on it, you will be redirected to this page, and this is how you can get the all the details. So here you can see this is the sample. We can also copy and paste this sample and we can execute it and we can see how the results are coming. All right, so I'll just copy this whole text. I will paste into my Jupyter notebook. So here we are in the Jupyter notebook. I'll just paste it. So we all know that before running every library we need to import it. So I'll write import, and then here we will write requests. Okay, so this is how we are going to write it, and I will comment out rest of everything. Okay, so that you can get the response correctly. So here if you see, if I want to get the response as 200, I will be writing what exactly is happening over here. So R is nothing but your response of the URL which we are using. So request.get, it's a type of the URL which we are using. As I have already spoken about three types of APIs which we can handle: get, put, post. Okay, so in this tutorial we are going to see get and post. Okay, so what is get and what is post, what is the difference between them? So get type of request is an HTTP request which will get the response, which will get the information from the database. So it is like writing a select star from query, okay, where you will get all the details present into the table. Whereas the post request will get all the required details. It will not fetch the all the information. It will fetch the curated one. So let's suppose you have a student table where you have students of 10th class, and where you want to filter out the data. You want to fetch only those students who have secured the distinction. Okay, so for that you will be writing the query, and you will write some query, and then that query will get executed onto the server and it will fetch the curated record. Okay, so we are going to see the practical example of it, but meanwhile we are going to see first how get request works. So get request is simply a request which will get the information. It may or may not have a parameter. Now here if you see, this is my URL. Okay, this is going to be my URL, and this is the authentication. This is going to be completely optional. If your URL required username and password, then only you will be passing the URL username and password. If it does not require, you are not going to pass these parameters. That is authentication. Okay, that is the first thing. Then R is nothing but your variable which is storing the response of the API in, that is R, and R dot status code. So now once I execute this, it is going to give me status code as 200. Okay, so now if I execute it, so here we are getting some error. So I'll just replace this API with some other API. All right, so this is my API which I'm going to be this is the API which I'm going to use for the test. Okay, so this is my API, https://http:/bins.org/net. okay, this is the dummy one which we are using over here, and we can see that we got a 200 response. If you execute this into your browser, you will get what exactly the response is. So I'll just execute it, and you can see that it is giving me the response. Okay, so this is how the response is generating. And if I want to see that what is the header of it, so I'll write dot header and then content type. So this is mandatory, I need to mention the content type, what content type is, and I'll comment out the above part. So if I give content type, it is going to give me the type of it, that is application/JSON. okay, that is what it is going to give me. So I'll execute this. Now it is going to give me the type of that particular request. Now again, if I want to get the response into the JSON format, I will be writing r.json. So this is how I will be writing. This is important, most of the time we are going to use it. So r.json, this is how the JSON response will be of this API. This is a dummy API just for our understanding. Okay, now if I want to get it into the text format, I can use r.text. all right, so here if I type r.text, it is going to give me the text format. Now see, this is the difference. So that is why I have already taken the difference, that is, this is going to give me type, okay, the text, and here we are getting the detail of it. So I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it over here so that we can understand what is the difference between text and a JSON response. Okay, so I'll just comment out text, and then I'll execute it, r.json space, because of space it is giving me the error. Now if I execute it, it is going to give me the response. So this is a JSON response. All right, I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So this is how we are going to get a JSON response. This is how we are going to get a text response. If I want to get the encoding, what is the encoding? It is going to give me UTF-8, that is the response. So this is how you can get the responses in GET request. Now we are going to see about POST request. So POST request does not change much. Now here we have the documentation of libraries which are available in Python for request. So you can open any one and you can get it. So make a response content, JSON response. So if I just open one of them, I can get the details. So here we have the same, okay, API GitHub JSON. Now it will give me the response as JSON. Now if I want to get a POST request, so most of the time we require parameters to be passed. Like suppose we have already discussed about an example of a student table where we have student marks and we want to get the distinction, total students who got distinction. For that we are going to fetch a query. So for where we will be writing where clause, and then we'll put the condition as marks greater than 60%, 70%, 80%. So all these three conditions will get executed onto the database, and then it will store the result and it will give us the response. It is the parameters are not required. Okay, we can either pass parameters, or the GET request or POST request does not depend on the parameters. All right, so let's say a POST request. So this is how your POST request will look like. All right, so here we are going to create a POST request with parameters. Okay, so I'll just add one more column over here, one more row over here, and I'll paste a request. All right, so this is my request.post. okay, this is my data payload. Data is equals to payload. Now payload is something which is optional. Okay, so if I remove this from here, and if I just try to execute r.json, okay, and I'll write like this and I'll execute it. So it is going to give me the response. Okay, so this is how we are going to get a response for post. Now if I want to get a response in key value pair, so I'll say over here, I'll say name. Okay, this is my key and my value is guide coachings. Okay, this is my value. Then I will add do, and then I'll say over here, I'll say colon, and then I'll say subscribe. Okay, this is what is my key and value which I am going to pass. Okay, now if I execute it, so you can see that my form is going to give me do, subscribe, name, guide coachings. That is what the key value pair is. Now if I want to format it well, I can just copy it and I can paste it as data is equals to, okay, here I can put my data as this, and now I can use it. Okay, so how I am going to use it, this is how I am going to use. So this is the payload which I have created. Okay, payload is equals to data is equals to payload. So this is my key and value pair which I am going to use. We can use single quotes, we can use double quotes, there's no problem. Okay, so what data we are going to provide, this is the data we are going to provide. So data is equals to data which we are providing. Now if I execute it, it is going to give me the same result. Okay, now here I have given data as a name. I can give any name. If I want to give a name as payload, I can give that as well, payload, and this payload is going to be over here, payload, and this is going to work like same. Okay, so this is do, subscribe, pay, and this is all the information. This is coming with the origin, URL, everything, every details it is coming with. Okay, now the same thing which we can use with the get type of request. If I want to give any value in terms of the parameter, I'll say payload, or I can say data, and then I'll say key. Okay, I'll put it in single quotes, key, and then single colon, and then I'll say value. Okay, value, single quote, complete. Now I'll just close it, and then I'm going to use this over here as payload. Data is equals to payload. Okay, this is how I am going to use it, and once I execute it, I'm going to get the information. Okay, so here you can see the details are over here. We are getting the argument list, we are getting the response. All right, so this is how you can basically use get APIs, post APIs with parameters, without parameters. Okay, it is going to give you the result. Okay, for this you need to use the requests libraries of HTTPS to get the details of your request. All right guys, that's all for today. If you have any questions, any queries, or any doubts regarding the topic which we have covered today in this tutorial, you can write me a comment and we are going to solve it into our next session. All right, thanks. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever we post a new video.